removing the trophy from the table. Big occasion this. This tournament has a real sense of prestige about it. And Chris Wakelin, well, one of the biggest days of his career. Obviously to win the semi-final was massive to get in the top 16, but now there's a chance to win this tournament. One other side issue, whoever does win will get into the Champion of Champions as well, which in fact starts tomorrow. They would play on Wednesday. Looking forward to this one, Neil. Two players who produced a lot of great stuff this week.
Oh, absolutely. Both players very much deserving of their place. And Ding ended up doing it slightly more comfortably than Wakelin, although you wouldn't necessarily have thought so at the early stages of both matches. Ding was in trouble, but he ended up breezing through almost against Sir yesterday. That reaction tells you all you need to know. Absolutely rapturous for a terrific long red. You'd give Wakelin a very good chance, but the reasons you might side with Ding are, as Dave pointed out, almost the last match was Wakelin's final. It was Ding will get a lot of home support. Anyway, he's missed that one, and Wakelin has got a chance early, which I think if he's going to win, he needs to start well, clearly, and not give Ding an early advantage, because Ding was 3-0 down yesterday. But he still, as I say, got through without too much fuss.
Well, it's been a brutally difficult draw for Chris Wakelin here this week. Sean Murphy, Mark Williams, John Higgins, and then, of course, Xiao Guodong, who won a ranking event a few weeks ago in China. So he's really earned his place in the final. And another tough opponent, of course, in the final. But I think what makes him dangerous is he's already nailed down that top 16 spot. So he'll be feeling really good coming into this match. We saw him in floods of tears after that semi-final, which he nearly lost from a winning position.
He'll be going to the next level, I think, if he wins today, though. He's in the 16, but now to win a big event like this would take him right up to the next stage of his snooker career. You know, this is a difference of £100,000 this match, and he could shrug off the points that will be coming off in the near future for the shootout, which he won, it'll be 2 seasons ago. So yeah, this does move him on as a player, I think, should he win. Well, I'm not sure whether he would have actually attempted to go into the reds, but he stunned it, and he always felt the cue would throw a bit wide of the pack. So he's not in a very good spot here to keep the break going.
15.
Yeah, it was difficult, wasn't it? And the cue was never likely to be
15.
right behind the black, even if the pot went in. As you see from that angle, you can see exactly how difficult it was.
Ding Junhui's 24th ranking final. He's 10th in China, so it just shows you on home soil how consistent he's been over the years.
certainly a feature of his game these days, Wakelin. His all-round game, you know, his safety is very good, actually. I said the other day that, you know, practicing a lot with Mark Selby can't have done any harm to that aspect of his game, and that was a nice shot that he played there, offering Ding only the bunch of reds, which of course he probably doesn't want to play off the bunch because you don't know where all the reds are going to go, but as a consequence he decides to roll into them. First frame yesterday of Ding's match with Zhu Se. Ding lost it, but it went on approaching 40 minutes, and the reason was it was basically won fairly swiftly by Zhu Se, but Ding played on needing 7 snookers. Even when the last red was potted, he carried on. He was quite deliberate in even his shot selection. It was a very surprising development, really, that he would go to those lengths. But Zhu Se then made back-to-back hundreds in the next 2 frames, so whatever he was attempting to stop him didn't work. It was an oddity at the start of the match, but anyway, over the course of it, Ding eventually was much the stronger.
It's one of those things. I think if you asked Ding now why he did it, he probably wouldn't know. It was just an aberration, but anyway, it made no difference one way or another other than just to the length of the session. This frame's changed a bit. The reds have opened up now. Yeah, and that's a big error from Wakelin.
Well, he played that with left-hand side. He was hoping to check it and take it down the left side, to the left of the reds. But as you saw, well, we didn't quite get to see the full impact of the shot, but he hit the opening red correctly. And what a chance he's left here.
Ding has made 6 centuries in this tournament.
6.
Yeah, he wasn't really sort of pushed early on, but obviously the Karen Wilson quarter-final was a massive match and a big performance because Wilson was playing so well himself. I know Karen was up early yesterday with one of his sons because he had jet lag, just got back watching, so good morning if you are up at this hour, Karen.
Yes, good morning too. And of course he won't have long to spend at home because on to the next event up in Bolton in the UK for Karen, champion of champions. He's an absolute master when he's in amongst them, Ding. He's a little bit of a one-off in that his whole game revolves around how well he's scoring when he's in. Yes, he can play safe. Yes, he can pot long balls. We've seen one already in this frame, but his strength is just the precision of his cue ball control, and it always has been like that.
$20. $21.
You think if you go back a couple of years before Ding had a good run in the UK Championship 2 years running, getting beaten in the final, which one he should have probably won, but before that, you know, he did drop right down the rankings. There was a number of Chinese players ahead of him. the rankings.
28.
It felt as if maybe it was all coming to an end, but it's almost business as usual these days with Ding. I think it's not that we ever doubted his ability that had gone. It just didn't always seem to be as driven as it was as a younger man, but he seems to have got everything back now. Maybe the pandemic was the cause. Didn't have the chance to travel freely around the world. Not right on the blue. He's got the choice of staying mid-table or just running the cue ball around the angles. Goodness me, I'm sure he couldn't have played it like that. With that left-hand side through between
34.
green and brown and back. The other side of the brown and pink seems unlikely, but that's what's happened. It's not perfect on this red. Running a little bit out of position, which is not the usual
40.
with Ding. And he missed one like that yesterday, overcut it dramatically. I thought he would consider the red down the left cushion with the rest there. Might have been a better way. Very similar to frame one yesterday. And when Ding loses the cue ball, as I say, it's unusual and maybe didn't suit his game. Now, a chance of a counter-attack here.
Yeah, and I'm sure when Wakelin left him in, he wasn't expecting to come back to the table just 20-odd points behind. Ding was pretty furious, wasn't he, in his seat there? Squandered a good scoring chance. I think he'll be aware that Wakelin, you know, he's playing the biggest match of his career here and will need to settle early, so he'll be annoyed to give him this chance.
Black.
Wasn't the cleanest of pots, which means he's right behind this red. He'll move the other red out, which is the plus side to the last shot.
17.
Oh, this frame is absolutely up for grabs. Where the balls are. Both players will still fancy they've got a chance in it.
True.
Slightly Unusual setup here with the yellow will now go down onto the pink spot. That's well played.
26.
That's very well played. If he's straight, he's a little unfortunate because he played it in such a way that he's hoping to land right in behind it. The yellow to middle is the best way to get onto the red. I say, when Ding missed that red that he overcut, he did one exactly like that yesterday. This red that Wakelin's going to play, I was a little surprised he never looked at potting it down the cushion. I think he'd have got it with the rest. He could have recovered the frame there, maybe. And now, of course, yellow on the pink spot is not the worst thing that he's on the black like this. Slightly easier than it would be if it was on his own spot. That's very well played. That's perfectly judged. The angle from yellow to green is
36.
Is A1 now.
Yellow, green and brown to win the opening frame. When he missed it, that safety, and left Ding the world, he must have thought that was it. But Ding, unusually for him, lost the cue ball and just ended up missing that red that we saw.
41.
The question was, could Wakelin step in what is a huge match for him and take advantage? Well, if he pots the brown, it looks like he's 1-0 up. Yeah, he's riding high, isn't he, Wakelin? In all areas, he's nailed down the top 16, away from the table. You know, he's becoming a father. He's bought a house with his partner. Obviously, the money from this event is going to be massive towards all of that. So he's just feeling great. It was noticeable when he walked in just how happy he looked to be here. Didn't look nervous. And he's landed the first blow in this final.
$56.
So 1 down, 9 to go. Yeah, nicely done. That's a settler, isn't it? A good clearance of 63. Chris Wakelin claims first blood in this international championship final. 10 needed to become champion today.
Second frame, Ding Junhui to break.
Well, Ding Junhui had a pretty good chance, you've got to say, to win that opening frame. It didn't happen. Chris Wakelin seized on the chance from the missed red and made a nice 63 clearance. 9 frames in this opening session, and they're back tonight for a possible 10. This is the 8th ranking event of the season, and it's one of the biggest so far. Of course, Saudi Arabia was 500,000, but this is 175,000. That translates to ranking points as well. So Wakelin would go up to number 11 were he to win it. Ding would go up 1 place from 9 to 8, but he sort of nails down all those Players Series events later in the season, which are very prestigious.
Yeah, it was a nice start from Wakelin. Of course, you did mention that match in Wuhan where Wakelin knocked in all those centuries, 3 of them in a row, total clearances. I mean, Ding probably already knew that he was up against a good player, but you're not going to forget that in a hurry. That sort of barrage against you.
4.
Yeah, I'm surprised he missed that. Of course, in doing so, he didn't get position on the black anyway, which I think he intended to the same pocket. He did start, as I said, slowly yesterday. I don't know whether it takes him a while to ease into a match of this length.
It was suggested to him yesterday he'd be the favourite, but he said that doesn't mean anything. He said if it was based on rankings, you'd just give Judd Trump the trophy on the day one and all go home. He knows he's going to have to produce a strong performance.
Well, Fergal pointed out yesterday in commentary, and I completely agree with him, that you know, when Ding is hitting the ball at speed, the cue action's a bit of a blur. You know, there's no start, beginning or end to it. It just all happens in one fell swoop. He loses his accuracy. I think his eyes are on the wrong ball and everything. He's a complete contrast at playing at pace than what he is when he's in amongst them. That was not a good shot, that last one.
One.
No, and obviously the title won't be decided until tonight, but these early frames can be significant. Certainly for Chris Wakelin coming into such a big match. You know, that was an important visit in the opening frame, I think, just to settle him, and be looking to exploit any deficiencies in Ding's game early on. Yeah, I mean, those 3 total clearances, you know, that is pretty much unprecedented in succession that he made against Ding. It was spellbinding, actually. And it's a sign of just the improvements he's made in the last year since winning the shootout. You know, he's really moved forward as a player. He deserves to be in that top 16, I think.
8.
Don't think he wants to play the black particularly because, I mean, the browns are just slightly off his spot, but there's no room for it to go anywhere else, that black, but behind its own, which would kind of lock down the pink and black a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue that he would anything but deserve to be in the 16. These are the events we're playing now. The reputation of players doesn't count for anything, really. The players that are winning are what the game is all about. And Wakelin has been improving very steadily for the last couple of seasons. Other players we've seen this week is win over Xiao Guodong, another rapidly improved player this season. You do get them, you don't know quite who it's going to be, but Wakelin is that man. Now he is going to pot the black here. There's the pink spot is now free, is it? No. I'm very surprised he played the black. All that does is cause him a problem or two, unless he can just get the pink away from there at some point. There must have been a valid reason for it, but that's not a good look for a player looking to score where the black is now and the pink. Anyway, that's a lovely recovery shot.
23.
Black will still go, but it's just a bit tight for room down there. bit of a mess of it, hasn't he? The last 2 or 3 shots, he's fallen further and further out of position. A tough shot to keep the break going up into the yellow pocket, this red. Very good, very good.
29.
I also like the cue ball. He's got it bang under control, so that's a terrific recovery.
$34. $35. Bad ball.
Yeah, nominating black, the pink and black being so close together, it's the right thing to do to nominate your colour. Still nowhere else for the black to go but behind its own spot.
Shi Yixin, the referee, just having to make sure it's back in the right spot, beneath its own spot. Bit of a fiddly job.
It is, and of course, I say it again, the pink will not be possible with the black replacement right in behind it.
Sea of faces in the background. It's a big venue, this, and as you'd expect for the final, big crowd.
I can only think that he got a little kick there. We don't see them that often, but he leapt up in the air. It didn't sound quite right. Has he left one? Well, the way that Ding is walking down to the bulk end, I don't think anything goes to the middle. I feel that he may have got a bad contact there. It just didn't look or sound quite right. Said it before, but you know, the days of us all droning on about kicks all the time seems to have gone. You know, the equipment, the technology's moved on, thankfully, because it's just a complete imponderable. You know, no one wants to be in that position, worrying about whether you're going to get a kick.
Yeah, you don't see now the table just covered in chalk marks, do you? It's like you say, there's enough to worry about in this sport.
Big shot here. Cue ball absolutely nailed to the bolt cushion, but the red will interest Ding. It's not easy from that range.
Well, he got a lovely kiss off the reds. He's opened them up. He's on the blue. So this is a serious chance for Ding, having not taken the opening frame. And that sort of sense of injustice from Wakelin about the kick might sort of fester as he watches this.
Might play on the black now, because the black will then go up onto the pink spot, so that's going to clear the decks. I have to say, I was a little surprised Wakelin chose to play the black, and it just seemed to complicate the breaks from then on in. Just made things a little awkward. But now, with the black away from the pink, things are better.
14. 15.
I think as neutrals, you're looking for two things really in these finals: a high quality and a close match. And these two certainly are capable of the first of those. We'll see tonight how close it is.
20.
This first session always about sort of jostling for position. Ding didn't play great in the first session yesterday, but he was by far the better player in the second. As Yusa started to struggle really badly, Ding used his experience to get the job done. 9-6. It's 5 years since he's won a ranking title. 2019 UK Championship, his most recent.
27.
He's won 14 ranking titles, which is not as many as some of the other big hitters, but it's far more than most.
He's the angle on the colour to get in behind the two reds. And that's what he was just
36.
shaping up to do. Maybe a fraction further than what he would have wanted to go there. He's a little straighter. Yeah, that wasn't a great shot from Ding. Didn't want to finish there. He'd be frustrated, I think, with his usual control of the cue ball, that he's not given himself a shot at these two reds. He was back in the frame, but he would have been hoping for more than that. No easy safety shot either. No shot that can really get his opponent in a lot of trouble, it seems.
Ding Junhui, 42.
That's a stunning long pot. It really is. Cue ball's running and running. It's a brilliant pot. He knocks a lot of those sort of shots in, actually, Wakelin. Doesn't want to roll up to the colour. Wants more than that. Feels a big moment, this. Yes, it's very early in the match. Ding looks a little disappointed already. But he'll be more disappointed if this pot goes in.
Three.
Well, after the first red, that was easier, but it was absolutely miles away. Can't believe how poorly he hit it, I think. So what a chance for Ding. Again, put in a bit of a short one there, a bit of a jab. Seems to have got lucky. Black's covered the red to the pocket, so a bit of a nervy frame already, this one.
Yeah, all sorts of murmuring from the crowd already. Enjoying the closeness of this match. As I say, that's what I think what you hope for in a final. And of course the mistakes add to that excitement. It's the unexpected. We expect a lot of these guys, but they're going to miss, they're going to make mistakes, and it's how they handle it that's the interesting thing, really. Ding does a good line in sort of looking fed up, doesn't he? But he's normally ready when the chance comes. Whereas Wakelin was sort of smiling at his own error, but that was masking a lot of disappointment.
Yeah, this is a bit awkward here. I mean, I don't know if the blue would go into the left corner, but even then, if he plays the up and down, there's all sorts of double kisses that could come into the equation here. Yeah, he's not playing anything like that. But he's put himself in potential trouble the next shot. Wakelin's quite good under these circumstances. I think it was a fairly innocuous one, but he usually gets his opponent in trouble. But not this time. Not this time at all. Ding will certainly have a dart at this. Well, he's gone to the top of the cue ball, actually. Oh, what a shot. Just rolled it in. I thought he might go for it, but with a bit more pace than that. In the end, a very delicate little shot, played beautifully. This is the problem you see on these shots. The cue action becomes a little too quick. He's going to force this. And he did not play it well. This is the one problem that's there in his game. He's hitting the ball with extreme pace. And of course, no one's ever found it easy. Some players' technique can cope with it better than others. He'll be annoyed. He really will. If he doesn't win this frame, he will be very frustrated because he's had a few chances now. There's an example of Wakelin playing good safety shots from positions which look fairly innocuous. A long look at the angle from this cushion. Played it very well, in fact, in the end. Dangerous, and as you can see, any cover he was hoping for is a long way away from happening. This is not an easy pot to roll in from where that cue ball is, but it offers a chance to get the frame on.
Two.
Well, he rather stole the first frame. He needs to include in the pink here to make it 2-0. Green struggles in.
5.
He's got the shot to stun across, though, to the left cushion for the blue.
9.
Just got to play this with a degree of pace to get the cue ball away from there. So, of course, that is where you can miss them. It's difficult, isn't it? I mean,
Wakelin.
could he have run it through? I suppose he could have. He took a long time on it. He seemed to be on the shot forever.
Well, it's a great blue. He still needs this pink as well. It's been an eventful frame. They both feel I think they should have won it. This pink isn't in yet. Yeah, Wakelin knows it's not a sitter by any means. I think there's just a slight distraction. Ding steadies himself for frame ball. Yeah, he really did compose himself, didn't he? And he knocks it in to the delight of this crowd. A very eventful frame. Ding relieved to get that chance after Wakelin missed the blue. So it's already a dramatic start to the final, and we're level at 1 each. Sure, Chris's friends and family back in the UK are up bright and early to cheer him on. I saw some pictures of a big screen actually the other afternoon when he was playing Xiaogu Dong. His friends gathered round with a couple of pints. Might be a bit early for that at this point on a Sunday morning, but he'll be getting plenty of support from afar.
It is early in the match, but Wakelin was visibly disappointed with that last frame, how he didn't win it. Safe to say that Ding's blue and pink at the end were pretty good. The crowd enjoyed them. He's going for this red through the gap here. A thin one down the cushion. But the cue ball, as you saw, was always escaping back to safety. So not a great deal wrong with the shot.
Wakelin, as we know, won the shootout early last year. He was in another final, the Northern Ireland Open last season, where his nemesis, Judd Trump, did for him 9-3. Of course, if he were to win today, he would play Trump in the Champion of Champions on Wednesday. That's just another sort of spin-off benefit that comes from winning the tournament. And the Players' Series we talk about a lot, just to explain, you get into that series through the one-year list, so it's season's points just this season. And it's the top 32 that go into the World Grand Prix, top 16 in the Players' Championship, top 12 in the Tour Championship. They're all big money events, but they don't actually start till the back end of February, so there's a lot of tournaments to come before then. But the 175,000 from this would surely, well, I think get you in the first two for sure, and probably the third, with the points that you're earning from the other events as well.
Making all kinds of calculations here. For a minute, he was going to just hit the brown ball instead of the cue ball. But must be quite a thinnish contact on this red. Well, it's to know that the cue ball's heading in that way, and Ding with the red, but no guarantees of being on a colour. Just grazing the blue, I think slowed the cue ball down a little bit. He's already sort of going through the agonies a little. Frame 2 he should have won. It's the biggest match he's ever played. I'm certain of that. I know that you could argue the previous match was, but now that he's won it, it's a big title. Never mind all the spin-offs of the last match, being in the 16 for the UK. Well, these two could actually meet in the Masters, because if one of them's in the top 8 by then, and that would probably be Ding, Wakelin's in the 9-16, they could be drawn against each other. They're both in the big time.
Kiss on the yellow, meantime, has not worked out at all. It looks like he's lost his way here. Yeah, I mean, Chris Wakelin doesn't just want to be a top 16 player, he wants to be a tournament winner. And the Masters, yeah, already in the back of his mind. I mean, if he lost the final today, it'd be 15, the cut-off of the Masters, the UK. So, you know, he wouldn't be absolutely nailed down to be in that, but be unlucky not to be. It's a big match for the seeds, isn't it, in York, the first match in the last 32, because if you don't win, you get nothing at all. If you do, you guarantee 15,000 ranking points, so it's absolutely huge.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Masters cut-off is the UK Championship, and it's big points, so, you know, there could be a few shifts around which could see him out of the 16. But, like you say, should he win his first match in York, no idea who he'll be playing yet, of course, and that would probably guarantee him, I would think. Just the one more thing to say, the event next week, the Champion of Champions, is non-ranking, invitational, but that's basically you invite yourself by winning something. Saw something that Neil Robertson put on social media about the size of the pockets here in these Chinese events, and I tend to agree they're more generous pockets than you might find in some of the events back in the UK. But he made the point, and I agree with him, that it makes the safety aspect of the game even more crucial, because it's important to be the first one in. This is one of those frames. Big advantage to be in first with a good chance.
Junhui 4.
How costly that in-off will be remains to be seen. If this red goes in, it will be costly.
It sort of feels like the final session, doesn't it? You know, it's quite edgy, which is okay, it's understandable, but we're a long way before the end of this match. Been a lot of kind of reaction from the two players. It's a big match for Ding. I mean, he's won a lot of tournaments, but he hasn't won a ranking event for 5 years, so for him that seems a long time. And he wants to win in front of his home supporters, of course, here as well. If he were to win, Ding, he would actually have won 7 ranking events in China. That's would equal the record held by Mark Selby and Judd Trump.
Well, that shot that Wakelin played, containing shot, has left a red on, and he might, be, with a series of kisses, be able to get himself on the black. Well, that's what he tried, but the flip side is he's left a chance back now for Wakelin.
It just feels a very nervy sort of part of the match, this. Can Wakelin just take a couple of breaths here? Now he's got this chance. Made that nice 63 clearance in the first frame. Had an opportunity to lead 2-0. Various things have gone wrong since.
He's just looking at if he can get to that red.
What?
I think Chris Wakelin is very grounded. He, in his younger days, worked as a delivery driver for a supermarket. They would give him time off to play in tournaments. And they had a sort of whip round for him to enter Q School. You know, it was quite a humble start. He's never forgotten that.
Tough. $13. $20.
I think that was the key, wasn't it? He wanted to get that red that was on the black spot potted before he took the black, or else he would have tied everything up. And now, after all of the early exchanges, it's a good opportunity. He tries to be positive all the time, you know, I have to say that for him. You know, he has a good
28.
defensive game, good tactical game, but when the chance comes, he gets on with it. Tries to move into that mode. It's very easy
29.
if you play a lot of safety shots to, when the chance comes, not be completely as aggressive and ambitious as you might be. Sometimes no rhythm there. He seems to have worked all that out. He's a good match player.
34. $35.
Things got a little bit sort of frantic towards the end of the last frame and the start of this one, but this is where he wants to be now. Building up a nice lead in this frame. Sort of occasion he's dreamt of course, you know, coming out to China, these big prestigious events. Chance to take on the local hero. Bearing in mind, his tournament began at Ponds Forge in Sheffield. The first qualifying round was held there. And pretty sort of, not the fault of the venue, but it's pretty soulless setup there because it's just about providing players for this venue, because Ding was excused having to go there for understandable reasons.
Well, it could have worked out better. He has got a red to middle, which he
50.
should get. As you can see, queuing over a ball though. Just played it gently. Always felt it would drop.
51.
And he'll be relieved that it did.
So, not much more to do here. To not only win the frame, but win it decisively. He did leave Ding that cut-back red, didn't he, which he missed to set up this opening.
59.
The lead with the pink, so a red and a colour. And it should be 2-1 to Chris Wakelin.
65. It's
been a good visit because, as I say, it got a bit nervy. But Chris Wakelin's had to survive a lot of tough games already this week. He's come through various passages within those matches, as of course he did in the semi-final at the end, and played a very good decider, having lost his 8-5 lead against Xiaogu Dong. Same against John Higgins, that decider that happened hours after frame 10 because they were taken off.
74. Well,
I'm sure he'd like a century. He's made 4 in the event. But either way, he's won the frame. Well, every chance now.
Yes, and he just slightly developed the red and the yellow also, and there's a real chance of getting one, which would make him feel quite confident. Yeah, frame 2, he knew that he should have won it, really. And yes, Ding potted a good couple of balls at the end, the blue and pink, but there's an argument that he could be 3-0 up, Wakelin, but he'd settle for what he's doing. He's playing well enough.
Yeah, and what he can take from this so far is that Ding, who's one of the great break builders, no one would dispute that, I don't think. You know, when he was in frame 1, he didn't control the cue ball well. His highest break just 42 so far, so he hasn't quite got going. I mean, it will probably happen at some point, but until it does, it's Wakelin's opportunity to make hay, which he's done in this frame. Well, that will annoy him, but that's all it will be, a minor annoyance, because the main thing is he's won the frame. A 92 break from Chris Wakelin, and he edges back in front in this final. He's a bit disappointed not to make the century, but he's happy enough to be leading 2-1. So this is the last frame before the first interval of the International Championship final. Chris Wakelin leads Ding 2-1. Wakelin has made the higher breaks so far, 63 and 92. Ding's best of 42. Remember, they play 9 frames, so we're guaranteed to have somebody in front. Coming back this evening where 10 is the target for victory.
Wow.
That was mighty thin, wasn't it?
It was, and yeah, I like the speed he played. He tried to, if he was going to pot it, bring the keyboard back out of bog. The blue is a little thin to go into the bunch. I mean, he could play it. If it was a couple of balls a bit further up this way, this end of the table, it would be perfect to get the bunch open. The way it is, he still might be able to, but it's not a natural. All credit for trying. It's not bad. It's got a red to middle. As I say earlier, he's attempting to be as positive and upbeat all the time when the chances do come. He's got a real problem with his cueing. What is it? This is something on the table, an insect or something. But no, but he was queuing up, got up 3 or 4 times. Maybe there was something distracting him.
7.
Just that when he opened the reds, a lot of them have got down near the black and they're not all available. You know, it could be a good chance, but he's not quite there yet.
Pep.
That's a good shot. He's a little straight, but he still played it quite well. Next red won't be easy, but he's trying to just keep this break together. Now he's looking for the gap between the blue and pink, through to that red to the right corner.
16. 17. Free. 24. $29.
Well, he's still picking off the reds, but you know, you do feel there's quite a long way to go to make this a frame-winning chance. He's on a good track. And he would absolutely not argue it if he led at the mid-session, because he has been the better player. Ding has been a little in and out, really. Not dissimilar to yesterday, although it has to be said that he was 3-0 down because
36.
Zhu Se played absolutely brilliantly in those frames.
$37.
Black's always been in an awkward spot. That's why it's been a tough break.
43. $44.
So 50 in front. He's completely got over missing that blue at the end of the second frame. We saw came close to a century in frame 3. He's had to play well in this tournament. I mean, I listed earlier the players he's beaten. Every one of them was a big hitter, and he's playing the biggest hitter Chinese snooker has to offer here in the shape of Ding. So again, that will have focused his mind coming into the final.
$57. $58.
He's looking at red through the gap. The 1-2 up from where the black is. I think it goes. Oh, he's done really well. It's been a pretty fluent break. Don't forget it was that thin cut very early in the frame.
64.
And that will definitely go. And it's just about all he needs. This is a good play from Wakelin. Could have won all of the frames, but 3 of them is a good opening to a massive match in his snooker career. Doesn't look overawed or fazed by a big final like this.
No, you can see that by just the pace of play. He's not overthinking things here. It's been a very instinctive break. It's very early yet, but these are good signs for Chris Wakelin's supporters. As I say, I'll be watching on from the UK. Big day for him and his friends and family. The biggest, actually, of his whole career. And so far he's standing up to it really well.
78. $79.
A good effort, screwed it with the right-hand side, but unfortunately not worked out. He won't mind though, you know.
85.
He's breezed through this break, and now it's a question of whether he can basically find a way of knocking this red in. Not happening, but terrific stuff from Wakelin.
85.
Very impressive. He's made braces 63, 92 and 85. He had a chance as well to win frame 2. So Chris Wakelin very much on top as the players go to the first interval of the International Championship final. He leads Junhui 3-1.
Well, Ding will certainly need to step up his game. He'll be fully aware of that, and he absolutely can. Which he managed yesterday against Zhu Se. He's playing a more formidable opponent, I think, today. Yes, not somebody that's ever won anything other than the shootout. So, I'm not suggesting that it's going to be a runaway for Wakelin, because invariably there is sort of a crisis point for him in most of these sort of important matches where he can briefly lose his way, but unless Ding plays better, that's not necessarily going to happen. Very interesting remaining 5 frames of this session here. See what comes out of it. No, he's overhit this. He's seen the cue ball rush in and out of bulk.
请将手机调到静音。手机。
May not be a snooker, but it's the next best thing to finish there. That's horrible cueing. He might be able to get centre ball striking to that red, but I mean that kind of isn't in the way, that yellow, but it is a major distraction. I always used to think on these shots, where the cue might just hit the yellow on the way through. This is a horrible shot. There's definitely a problem with Ding's forcing game at the moment. You know, when he's playing shots with pace, he's losing a little bit of his technique, and I think it's there for all to see. It's been the case for a while. He's still a beautiful player when he's in amongst them. Got lucky there.
Yeah, and he was in amongst them, wasn't he, in the first frame, and he lost his way and not quite recovered since, really. He's not playing the sort of fluent game that we associate with him. Not yet, anyway. There's plenty of time.
Point is with snooker, you know, he never wants to really be hitting balls too hard, but there are going to be occasions when the only way you can keep a break going is to use a lot of force, and I say that's when he's not very strong.
1.
Come in very handy, one way or another. Whether he decides to roll up behind the yellow or take the brown to middle. And the reds are quite well spread. He's playing it. Big shot. Big shot, this. So, could be the opening that Ding Junhui needs. It's not simple because obviously the black at this stage is not available, though he could pot it. He's going to have to make it into a good chance. You know, I don't think he really wanted to take on that red and land on the black, but of course now that he's done it, because there were a few other options, he's put the black on his spot, and it could be a real opening.
No.
And what a place to finish, goodness. I don't think he can even go for the black from there. It's horrible. If he does and misses it, he'll be absolutely enraged. Very reluctantly playing a different shot. Well, I don't see any reason why he'd be going for this pot.
Ding Junhui, 9.
The only place he finished there where he couldn't really get to the black, right over a red.
No, I mean, at first, it looked like he might be lining up to take it on, and he sort of maybe talked himself down a little bit. Disappointment of not getting on the black. But a disappointing visit for Ding, who's looking for something to happen in this final. Oh, wow, he's angled.
We've seen that a few times, haven't we? Into that pocket especially. The ball just traps. Now this is referee having a look to see if he actually is angled. Well, I'm sure that Ding believes that he's completely angled on everything, even the reds to the right. Wow. He might end up paying for that. Of course, he was lucky, Wakelin. For some reason, the ball seems to keep getting trapped up in that top left pocket. This happened. I've seen it at least 3 times this week. on this table, maybe more.
It's a strange pocket, isn't it? It repelled that yellow from Zhao Dong. Sort of
Yeah.
stopped it going in somehow.
It almost started going back outwards.
So Wakelin just getting a little bit of running. Now, can he take advantage? Of course, Ding was in. You know, he lost his way.
Yeah, he was. And positionally, he broke down. So another break here, or a continuation of what he started to play like before the mid-session interval, would see him in really good stead. And it's not great at this stage, but it could be made into something good.
I think what impeded his progress, I mean, he was always a good player, but he didn't seem to beat top players very often. But that has changed. I mean, just this week, we've already listed the names he's dispatched. So he's turned the corner in that regard. He feels more comfortable in this sort of environment now. And I think the shootout was a massive help. Because it's such a unique environment and there's a lot of pressure on. And the fact is he won that tournament with the highest break of the tournament in the final. And just winning the trophy, the money was a big deal, of course, as it would be for anybody. The confidence, it's all come together for him. And of course his own hard work as well has been a big part of that.
Five. Ten. Eleven.
It's a question of tidying up the table, getting the high value colours back in orthodox positions.
17.
And trying to increase his lead.
$18.
Pink wasn't completely clean, but there's still a good chance
24.
to go further in front. Spoke to Chris. He said that it was early in the season. He said that he watches a lot of snooker, and part of that is he loves the game, but also picking up on what other players do, little tips that are successful for some of the other players. Some players do like to switch off, but I think most do follow what's happening.
Thirty. $36. $37. 43. 44.
It's another good effort, this from Wakelin. His excellent work that he's doing. You know, it's one thing to make breaks when the balls are all
50.
where you'd expect them to be, but he's just picking them off here. And another frame is very close to being won. Needs another red after this. I think he'll be trying to just drop this down the cushion. Needs a red. The likelihood
57.
of putting it at speed is lesser than if you can just drop this in. And there's the complete example of it, because you know he didn't really get that close to it, but he dropped it and it fell in. It's very good from Wakelin, this. Very effective. He's not played at his best, but he's not played badly either.
Well, he's been far more assured in the balls than Ding. I mean, Ding was in early on in this frame, as he was in the first. Didn't put anything together. He was lucky, Wakelin, with the angle, which set up the chance. I'm surprised he was, well, Ding's conceded. I'm surprised he sort of played it like that, Wakelin. That could have, anything could have gone in there. The white nearly did, but Ding has very quickly marched out of the arena. So Wakelin marches on into a 4-1 lead. To turn the tide a little, because Chris Wakelin is certainly scoring the better of the two. Long way to go, but Ding still needs frames on the board in this session, because Wakelin's confidence is only going to grow with every frame he wins.
Yeah, but actually he missed that one by quite a way. Of course, the red was careering all around the angles. Then he's going to have to make something happen here and get some frames on the board before they reconvene for the evening session. He looked a bit fed up at the end of the last. He marched out of the arena, but you don't mind that. You know, you want to see some annoyance, some frustration, and his chance to put it right, and there is still plenty of time. It is the first of 10. We'll lift the trophy, the big prize, everything that goes with it.
Yeah, he's always kind of been like that. I think, you know, it matters, but it's about being ready when the chance comes, which he often is. Some players give nothing away. Some like to sort of style it out and act as if there's no disappointment there. Ding doesn't pretend not to be disappointed, but as I say, it's then about these opportunities. Can he put together a decent break? His highest is still only 42. That's not going to win him this match, clearly. Going to have to go up significantly.
Seven.
He's played that well. The pot, and also just screwing the cue ball off the cushion in behind the red.
14.
No good.
19.
So again, from a promising position, it's not come to much.
Yeah, a little couple of kisses there on the pink and black. I don't suppose it would have affected the result really, because it was close up to that red down the along the black
19.
cushion. So it had promised, that visit, but it didn't amount to anything. It's kind of how it's been all the way through so far for Ding.
Yeah, it's a bit of a test of his patience. I mean, he's played well in the tournament. The match with Kyren Wilson was brilliant, but not yet today.
That was another one that was wayward. It was difficult, however. And this time, Ding would be most annoyed if he didn't fill his boots here. This is a good chance again. It's more of an orthodox position, and that's kind of how he likes them. Although at 4-1 down, I'm not sure he'll like it that much.
In some ways, though, Wakelin's confidence has worked to his advantage, because he's taken on these tough long reds, fancying getting them, but he's missed 2 in this frame. And this is the second opening he's handed to Ding.
Hey. Nine.
Kind of like that red and the pink away from there that are next to each other.
Gone
a fraction too far there. Have to play a little nudge into some reds. Could be that the bottom red, or the red directly above the black, still pots to the opposite corner. I think that's fine, actually. That red will go.
20.
But again, he has to be very careful as to where the cue ball finishes. Screw out of there, I think, this time. Good shot.
21.
Very nice. Played it with a little bit of screw and left hand, reverse side, so it didn't check off the cushion. Just went up the table towards the blue, and now he's opened up the whole frame.
Yes, and he knows there's a long way to go. His very first final, when it all started for him, that China Open, which unbelievably is nearly 20 years ago now, he was 4-1 down in that to Stephen Hendry. That was best of 17, and he won 9-5. If he can get on a run of frames, scoring heavily, he can sort of shut Wakelin out. And this could be the start of it. We'll see. He's got to try and nail this now.
26. $27. 32. 33. 40.
So 2 more reds should secure him in the second frame.
41.
Yeah, Chris Wakelin, as I say, he is confident, but that confidence led him to taking on a very tough long red that left this second chance in the frame for Ding.
Just think that shot where he screwed off the bunch, that red he potted to left corner and up for the blue, that absolutely opened it all up. He's so good at those shots. He's got a lot of support here, hasn't he? And they'll be aware of the fact that he has at last pulled the frame back. You know, there's still enough time for him to get right back into this session.
Yeah, Ding is a superstar in China, a sporting superstar, and Chris Wakelin
54.
will be aware of that as much as anybody.
$55.
Finished a bit close to the blue, but he's well in front here. There's no way back in the frame. So, a slight shift here. Ding was struggling for fluency. Now he's found some. Is it the start of a sustained passage of play for him? Because he could still end up, after this session, in front. He's playing a little plant here. Or trying to. Not to worry. That's more like it. Ding's best contribution of the match so far. 57 from China's #1. He narrows the gap. Chris Wakelin now leads 4-2. Wakelin 4-2 up, but he's just seen Ding play a much better frame. 57 the break. So 4-2 to Wakelin. 3 frames remain in this opening session. 10 needed tonight to become champion. Big occasion, because we missed these events the few years they were off the calendar during the pandemic and the recovery from that. A lot of work was gone into getting them back on, and they feel in many ways bigger than ever. I think the players have made a fuss of. We saw that the day before with the PR day and the red carpet and all of that, and there's a real sense of prestige to them. So if you can win one of them, it's a real feather in your cap.
They just hit too much of it there. little bit of uncertainty on that one. I expected him to get it. He just hit it too thick. He's covered the right side, and he might have forced Ding into playing this long red here, which I'm not sure he wants to play in particular. Oh, brilliant though. Brilliant.
One.
He likes to just put his hand out when he gets a little nudge. I think he deserves to get a good kiss. It was a great pot.
Six.
Just holding for the blue.
Seven.
It's not a full-blown chance just yet. Now they're going to nudge into the pink here and get the reds open that way. He's going to play on the reds down further down. He's played into them.
Twelve. Okay.
Well, the crowd sort of starting to make a bit more noise, aren't they? Obviously, Ding is very much a local hero, and they're enjoying what they're seeing here. Just signs that he's starting to find his game. Well, there is a red over the pocket. The green. Yeah, can't see it direct. He's looking to come cushion first, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, it looks most likely to play the plant, but it's actually, the red's not over the pocket. It's playing cushion first onto the red. Oh, the black goes. Wow, that is that's a big deal from where he was. That is a big deal. Those two shots in a row. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't completely aware
26.
of him looking at that side of the table, because he played cushion first. He'd have had to play a cannon as well. There's a lot to take in there to be able to get onto the black intentionally. not saying he didn't play at all, but it seems a little bit far-fetched. Anyway, doesn't matter now. It's a bit of a game changer, that shot, the cushion first. Right behind the black, red next to it. Everything's on now. Everything has escalated in this break very quickly. Looked like nothing more than a bit of a half chance. Now it looks like he'll
35.
be very disappointed not to win the frame.
$42. $43.
Yes, it must be quite tight, but he thinks he can just get through the black. I don't know whether he needs just a trace of right-hand side, maybe, to make the angle happen. Yeah, I think he is, just a trace. This is where he's such a lovely player, those little touches like that. I don't think that black, he may not have been on that, but he just glided it
50.
round the red.
$51.
So another half century. Just now looking to bring this home, this frame. I mean, clearly, this is all going to be resolved this evening, but you want to put yourself in a position where you're not coming back with a lot to do. As I say, you could still be in front at 5-4.
$57.
So red colour, and it's much more like it for Ding Junhui. At 4-1, he didn't seem very pleased when he left the arena, the way it was going. But things have changed.
65.
Well, I'm sure there'll be a cheer, probably a roar, if this pink goes in, because it's frame ball. Crowd have been very enthusiastic at this tournament. Remember the very first morning, play was held up for an hour because Ding was playing. Ronnie O'Sullivan was playing. Ding was playing later on, and they had to get the crowd in from the previous session.
72.
Just because of the demand. And if you bought a ticket weeks ago for the final, you've been rewarded here, seeing, as I say, a national sporting hero in Ding Junhui, who's now starting to produce the sort of snooker people love to watch. Chris Wakelin is still in front, but he's watching
79.
an opponent starting to find his range. It's going to have to be a plan to keep it going, but he's well over the line.
Pretty good at those, isn't he? You saw him knocking an incredible plant down that left side of the table in a previous match.
And then he misses the black. Although it's doing its best to go in.
Junhui.
But a very nice break that, wasn't it? 80 from Ding, who is right back in this now with 2 frames left to play in the session. Chris Wakelin's lead has been cut to just 4-3. So a slight sea change in this final. Chris Wakelin was good value for his 4-1 lead, but he hasn't potted a ball since then. Ding's made breaks of 57 and 80. And it's 4-3. 2 big frames here, last 2 of the session. Now there's something on the table. Oh, he's not there now. He's not there now. He's been in a pretty clinical mood this week, hasn't he, Chris? Taken on a few long ones, hasn't he? Last few frames, they're not going in.
Well, maybe another long one here that he can knock in. Been more dangerous to the long pots to the right corner for some reason. You do get that occasionally. He's playing this with a lot of right-hand side. Probably the side is why he missed that rather than which side of the table he's playing from. He seems to be more effective at long range into the right corner, though. That's that right side. If he's playing off the bunch, he has to be quite careful not to push a red close to a pocket here. That's why he played it extremely thin in contact. Didn't want to disturb the reds too much. Now from player view you can see he can get to the left side of the bunch as we see it. Taking the cue ball wide here around the angles. So I thought that was going to stay over the pocket. Crunch it in the middle at speed. as ever,
3.
it's been mostly the case in this session. The high value colours have not always been in play. It hasn't necessarily stopped Wakelin from scoring.
Four. Nine.
So he sort of sat out a couple of frames, but he's very much, of course, in the final. Just looking to get himself in front
10.
at the halfway stage now.
Yeah, and I think on that basis, it's quite a big frame for him, isn't it? Because he's been pegged back, and you know the luxury of knowing you're going to lead, and with a frame to go in the session would be a nice position to be in.
Yeah, I mean, these long matches we know from the World Championship, they get broken down into sessions, mini sessions. You just want to you want to hold the advantage at every point. I always think with the semi-finals in Sheffield, you know, you can't really look at the end of the match when it starts because they're 3 days, 4
15.
sessions. But you can look at being ahead at the end of the first session.
Sixteen. One.
It feels that the cue was heading over towards that pink and red close together here. And he managed to avoid them. He could have done without that little flick and
22.
on the blue. He could have used just missing the blue, and that way would have had a topside angle and maybe a way into the reds by the black, but none of that's going to happen now. It's a handy break, but it's a question of how much more from here he can put together. Stretching over,
27.
trying to get the cue ball back for a colour. Not easy.
Wakelin, 27.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a simple shot. He nearly fluked it. Now, if Ding can pot this and finish quite close to the bolt cushion down that line, he could have a shot to pot the brown and get into the bunch of reds here. Oh no, he's got hold of it, maybe to do the same off of something else. Certainly he'd like to get these reds opened up if he could. It is not perfect by any means. As you can see, there is a red that goes, but he wanted to be right behind it, not playing it from this kind of angle.
Hey.
Played it with topspin right-hand running side, but it's the one place where he's absolutely got nothing.
Junhui 8.
There was a number of balls there. I think it was a 4-ball plant, wasn't it? It's a shame for Wakelin's point of view. That 4-ball plant did not lead to something better. He just nudged into the brown ball. Not in a favourable way either. That's a very attacking shot. He probably felt that just rolling up with all those reds down the table was not going to be any kind of an advantage. Ding would have just rolled into them off the cushion, I think. And the black goes, well, goodness me. From that angle, you would never have believed it. It was a terrific shot. Very adventurous, the last two shots. Green and red, very positive. And what happened there? Is there a plant again?
12.
There is. Not against knocking the plant, is he? A 4-ball plant.
13.
It's 2 balls this time.
$18. $19.
overscrewed by a long way. It's a real pity because it was a terrific break, you know. He's done well to make this many.
26.
46 break. I mean, had he been able to screw back onto that red and win the frame from it, would have been some performance. But even then, he's in a very strong position. If he could just keep things tight, there's no more plants there.
Yeah, it was a good visit, that, wasn't it? He's not gone into his shell, Chris Wakelin. He's been on the front foot despite Ding dominating the previous 2 frames. So 45 in the frame, 59 available.
Interesting shot from Ding, isn't it? I mean, playing with all that side. Cuba winning behind the green. I mean, I wouldn't be certain he played that, but still well struck to get the cue ball back with side on the ball, opposite side to what you usually put on a shot like that. There's trouble, unless there's a gap. There is a gap. May turn out to be a very big frame one way or another, this one, because Ding is not in a particularly strong position, but he's a long way from being out of the frame either. Very good pot to middle from there. Not a very promising angle.
It was a horrible contact, that. It didn't sound at all nice.
Well, yeah, and he's asking for everything to be cleaned as well. I say everything. Not all of the balls, of course, just the yellow and the cue ball. But I think the good news for Ding is he's on the red still, whereas it did appear when he hit it that he might end up buried behind the blue. But he can get to it.
Yeah. It could have been horrible, actually. But the yellow went in, as you say, he's still on the next red.
Now the key is here. What goes? Does the top red go into... Well, it'll certainly go right side. I can't think it would go into the left corner. Well, finishing high with that angle, it means he hits the other red, and there's a bit of uncertainty
11.
about pot and position.
foul.
Yeah, he kind of gave up on it, didn't he, a little bit? He thought, well, I'd better just pot this. I think he didn't want to leave it into a world of guesswork. Could have missed the pot and lost the frame. Now he's going to get the pink out and try and get him behind yellow.
Ding Junhui, foul.
I'd be delighted with that. Don't know if there's a possibility of a very, very thin cut. I don't think so. He'd be absolutely delighted to have got out of that little mess. Ding needs red and a high-value colour, pink or black. And he's got to keep this pretty tight if he can.
There's a lot of murmuring going on, isn't there? The crowd recognising this is quite an important juncture of the match. Ding trying to get level from 4-1 down, which then gives him a chance to be in front coming back tonight. But if he loses the frame, there's the possibility of being 6-3 down.
He needs to pop the pink, and he's on the pink, crucially. So this next shot feels like a really big one. Just glanced off the black. He's not put the black safe. Now, pink to yellow. Well, you feel he'll win the frame if this goes in. Gets position as well. Interesting way of playing it, but he is on the yellow to the middle pocket, so this will hurt Chris Wakelin if it happens.
Yeah, Wakelin, when he was in, just tried to get one of the reds out around the top cushion, didn't, and that's really where it turned this frame. Ding's aptitude has been really good from 4-1 down. He was struggling a bit, but found a way back into it.
16.
Well, whatever happens in the deciding frame of the session, or the last frame of the session, I should say, but I don't think it matters as much as it would had Wakelin won it. So this is a real boost for Ding Junhui and his army of supporters.
Yeah, and I think we're going to hear from them, aren't we, if this black goes in, which it surely will. A 10-sol frame, Ding needs the black for 4 each. Wait for the roar. There it is. Great clearance. So from 4-1 down, Ding Junhui has turned this around, and with 1 frame to go, we're level at 4-4. and whatever happens, there's only going to be one between them. Chris Wakelin, having led 4-1, I guess will be disappointed if he's 5-4 down. Ding just made a terrific last red to black clearance to take the 8th frame. These long matches, they have their passages where one player's on top, another one can kind of be frozen out, but there's still a long way to go. Either way, though, it's going to be set up brilliantly for the final session, which will come, of course, later today. We'll have that live view from 12:30 CET, 11:30 UK time. 2.5 hours from now.
I do think that Ding will be relatively happy either way, but should Wakelin lose this session, I think he'd be horrified, actually. What's he left here? Nothing particularly easy, I don't think. It was a bit of a lash from Ding without any real control. There is a plant, and the two reds are fairly set to the corner. Oh dear.
One.
Is he on it? It looked like the red was sure to cover the black path to the pocket, but he can get through all right. There's a little bit of unrest, a little bit of noise in the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, the crowd have been really involved, haven't they? And they certainly enjoyed Ding's clearance, but Chris Wakelin's got a lot of support as well as just a phone going off in the background. It is a big frame. I mean, okay, it's 5-4 either way, but for Wakelin, having made the running to be trailing, it would be a disappointment.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it really would. And on the balance of play, he's probably at least 5-4 or even 6-3 could have been the score. And you don't always get what you deserve, of course. But he wouldn't. I don't think he would deserve to be behind.
No, because you go back to frame 2. I mean, he had the chance there, didn't he? He needed blue and pink, missed the blue. So it's 2 very close frames that have gone the other way that have made a big difference.
Can't be a good shot. It really can't. Red to middle is the recovery, but he should never have had to play something like this. Only just passes the other one. But in it goes. Well played.
15.
Well, he's been on the front foot the whole session. It's a massive match, the biggest match he's ever played. But he's been positive. He's not gone into his shell. And if he could end with a nice break, end the session, putting together a good frame, he'll have good thoughts going back to the hotel and ahead of tonight. Saw a couple of polls online. I put one up myself, actually. Who do you think is going to win? And it was pretty decisive towards Ding. It was sort of 70-30 territory, which you can understand with his experience. But the point is, with any final, you know the two finalists have played well to get here. And Chris Wakelin has had a very, very tough run in terms of the people he's had to beat. There's the confidence of being a top 16 player now. All positive thoughts, and that's what he's trying to take into this last frame of the session.
Yeah, I mean, he should feel confident that he's scoring well. All week he's been playing some good stuff. Just got to keep his head together for the remainder of this visit, I guess. Could well be the one.
35. 请将手机调
That's
至
what
界
that
面，
is.
谢谢
It。sounded like a sort of PA announcement, but I don't know. Maybe a very unusual ringtone.
Well, it hasn't done him any favours, Wakelin.
42.
He's just got to play the little cut back. The cue ball's going into the red and the pink above it. Oh, goodness me, has that put him off? Do you know, it might have done, I have to say, because it sounded like a, as Dave said, some sort of an announcement, or it was like you'd hear at a station, a train being delayed, but it was certainly enough to distract.
So a dramatic moment in a dramatic session. 42-0, but Ding with the chance. If you're just joining us, he was 4-1 down and not playing great. His highest break to that point was only 42.
Played a good shot there to get the cue ball right out of there and onto the black perfectly. So this is quite a dramatic development in the session. Yeah, I mean, the Wakelin business there, the red he missed, it was a shot before that there was the something in the crowd which was distracting, some voice or something. But either way, he got up and played a not very good positional shot and then missed the next one.
Might
have played to shift that red there, but either way, there's plenty in the middle of the table to get at least back into the frame, if not more so than that.
$15. 16. $21. 22.
Double checking that the red will still be available to that right corner from on the left side when the pink is respotted.
$28. 29.
Well, he's a few behind, but you get the feeling he's a pretty strong favourite to take this frame, albeit, you know, there's a couple of problems along the way. The red that he's closest to on that left cushion, that is the real stumbling block where it's placed. The others, you feel like you get round it. Just being straight on the black's not helping, really. Interesting shot selection to plant the red up into the yellow pocket is what he's done.
36.
Well, it was the right decision to finish on that one, and
47.
he's just off straight. Would he consider going into the red on the left? It's hard to know how that would necessarily work out for him if he did. No, he's not played on it. But he's finished really awkward. This is horrible now.
42.
Well, what a moment. 4 each, 42 each. Last frame of the session.
Yeah, this is a particularly difficult, awkward cueing blind pocket. There's very little to like about this shot if you're standing behind it. Really good cueing. I mean, seriously good.
43.
But there are still plenty of issues here. Getting on the bottom red. And then the other one. So, doesn't want to be straight. And if he is, well, he's going to have to try and drop the black in
49.
and land on top of the red on the left. So this is getting more difficult by the shot. Well, here's the biggest shot of the session so far. The black's not a certainty by any means. And the cannon, if he gets it, which I think he will, it looks a natural. I mean, that is not guaranteed to work out either. It's an absolutely wonderful effort, but he's just pushed it beyond the middle now. He could easily pop this down the end.
57.
But had he just dropped that in and was able to pop the... Surely he's not playing that, is he? Had he dropped it over the middle, that would have been one of the best shots all week. I've seen, if you play this very slowly, I have to say I've seen one or two of these drift out from left to right this week. Not necessarily at pace. Never there. Never there.
Junhui, 57.
Particularly want to play it, it seemed to me. He didn't fancy the shot very much.
Well, didn't clear it up from the last red, didn't he, in the last frame? Can Chris Wakelin do the same here? It's been a really good session, and it's turned into a dramatic one. Wow.
Well, he needs some cover now. I don't think he's got it.
Well, what a chance. And he was going so well at 4-1, wasn't he? He was definitely the better player. And on the balance of the session, the chances he's had, you feel should probably be in front. But he'll be concerned now. Dink can get through to it.
Yeah, I mean, he's been fairly sort of philosophical about it all, Wakelin, but I think what's annoyed him is that he feels that he was distracted by something that happened. Something loud came through, and he played a poor positional shot and missed the next ball, and he looked up straight away, and he'll feel that that is the reason he's not in front, I think.
Well, either way, there'll be a couple of hours to collect his thoughts, and he's very much in the final. And the real drama, I guess, is still to come. But it's been a great session, this.
6.
Ding's many supporters delighted to see him turn this round. This green is for a 5-4 lead. All still to play for, though. Possible 10 frames left.
It's all true, isn't it? But he'll have to get his head together because, like you say, it feels like a serious defeat, doesn't it, to be 4-1 up and somehow, despite how he's playing, be behind. So he'd have to do a lot of recovery work, I think.
He's looking for a quick exit as Ding just clears up here. Chris Wakelin made 4 half-centuries to lead 4-1, but has lost 3 close frames in this session, including this last one. And so Ding Junhui it is who has the advantage at the halfway stage of the International Championship final. He's looking for ranking title number 15. And his home supporters delighted to see him hit the front. But there's a long way to go. It's first to 10 as Ding leads 5-4.